Welcome back to the Piping Pastor. Well, back from a wee work trip again. So I got to spend just about 2 weeks out in the wilderness again, in the biblical sense of the wilderness, i.e., the desert. Desert in the physical sense of the word, not the spiritual sense. Praise God. So a lot of great spiritual work being done out there. However, those of you who have done some time camping and living out in the desert in the wintertime, it gets really, really cold. I mean, it wasn't really super warm during the day either, but it was nice. But it snaps back at you at nighttime. So a couple nights out there is like 18 degrees and just winds whipping everywhere, and of course sleeping outside, and the ground never heats up. So the ground just kind of seeps the warmth out of you. So I'll be honest with you, it was, in that sense, it was miserable. It was a really rough time out there. No hot food, nothing for, like I said, just under 2 weeks. Just the food that we brought with us in our packs. So wasn't any kind of like a campfire s'more kind of time. But some great spiritual work got done. So I am praising God for that. So happy to be back. And I did get to bring my my pipe with me. So of course, my little Whitluck pipe roll and a big bag of Northwoods, which is my perennial choice for when I'm out, trekking through God's creation, sleeping on the ground, wishing I could take a shower. That's the time, Northwoods is very comforting. Today, however, smoking my my one and only Codger blend in my rotation, which is the Match Revelation by Sutliff. Of course, Einstein's blend. And I don't have anything against the Codger blends. I've enjoyed Borkum Riff. I think that's a really nice blend. Half and half's okay. Honestly, I've never tried Carter Hall because I understand, it has some toppings on there. And they're a big fan of a lot of the toppings, as I smoke one with a citrus topping. But I know Smarty Bob dearly loves it, and I know Parsimonious smokes out of his cob when he's doing his yard work. It's on my list of ones to try. So I'll get there eventually, but no real burning desire to. Here is a tip, though, one of my favorite Christmas blends, because we've been talking, a few people have been talking a lot about their Christmas blends and what they'd like to smoke at this time of the year. And my favorite Christmas blend is actually, it's a pairing. So Peter Stokkebye's Luxury Twist Flake with a hot apple cider with a cinnamon stick in it. To me, that's the ultimate Christmas smoke for me. It's one of the rare times where I indulge, like my sweet tooth in regards to pipe smoking, because generally speaking, I kind of follow along with Father Brian in that, I don't want food and tobacco mixed. In terms of flavoring, apologies, Brother Greg, but that one is fantastic. So if you have not tried that yet, there's my Christmas blend suggestion. But since we are smoking a Codger blend, and because I promised to get back to it, back to the classic sermon series. So this is it's a collection of expository Old Testament sermons. These were written in 1899, so rather old. And actually, I found this collection at a bookstore in Columbia, Tennessee, at the Milltown Pipe Show last year. So last year, 2 years ago. Those of you who went will know you take that trip up the street, and there's like a coffee shop there and like an ice cream parlor and so forth, and there's a used bookstore, and that's where I found this. So this sermon is on Enoch. So this is Genesis chapters 21 to 24. Not going to cover all 3 chapters, but the story of Enoch. So the short verse that they kind of base this sermon off of is here. And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. So this is where the sermon begins. Enoch is one of this world's representative men. It is written of him by the writer of Genesis that he was not found amongst the dead. It is written of him by the writer of the Hebrews that he was translated, that he should not see death. Such a contingency could never have befallen any man who was not essentially a representative of his race, could never have been attributed to any man who had not impressed his race with a sense of his representative character. In the world of literature, in the world of philosophy, in the world of morals, there are men who, spiritually speaking, may be said to have been translated that they should not see death. But these have all, without exception, been representative men. Time has not touched their fame, their eye is not dim, nor their natural strength abated, but that it is because their lives were universal lives. They were not men of a party, of a sect, of a school. They did not walk round the mere environments of their subject of study. They did not occupy themselves with the ephemeral and accidental questions which floated in the contemporaneous atmosphere. They laid hold of that element in their atmosphere which was to constitute the breadth of every life and to form the being of every time. By that grasp of the universal in humanity, they being dead are yet speaking. That's just the initial part of it. And when he says race, we're not talking about race in like a context of ethnicity. When he's talking about race, he's talking about the human race. So these people who are representative of humanity. And essentially what he says there, there's a reason that Enoch was taken up by God. That Enoch did not see death, because Enoch was representative of the human race, the epitome of what a human being should be. And then he kind of gets into what that is not. It is not because he was a member of a sect or a society or anything else like that. It's not because, he was a Republican or a Democrat or a member of the Labor Party. It's not because he was a famous athlete. It's not because he was a member of a certain club or some kind of elite academic status or something else like that. It wasn't because of a title or organization that he was a part of. That's not it. That doesn't do it, right? It's because of what he was as a person. And also not because, he just bounced around in his atmosphere, right? Grasping hold of the things that he could kind of grasp hold of, or dealing with accidental questions. That is to say, questions that don't really have any kind of bearing or any kind of meaning, right? He was primarily concerned with that which was eternal, that which was important. And he goes on to say, the writer of the sermon goes on to say, we still have people like that, people who are representative. One of the discussions that we had when I was out, in my wilderness trek with some people out there was legacy. And they weren't framing it this way, but that's kind of what they were talking about. People who have been heroic and who have, lived beyond their lives because of something great that they had done, something that they had been remembered for, and how that was so great. And one of the other people countered and said, why is that so great? Why is it so great to lose your life for a greater cause? Or why is it so great to accomplish these things when at the end of the day, we all go back to the earth. We all just die. What's the big deal, right? It's kind of questions we get into out there. And the purpose and the reason for that is legacy, right? I mean, it's the opportunity to be a representative of our race, in that race of humanity. We can contribute. We can live our lives in such a way that we influence and have an impact that goes beyond us. And it's not some kind of, just fun thing to do. It's not just some kind of, research area that nobody really has any interest in, but that you can puff yourself up in. It's not about being the head of this organization or the head of that organization or elected to political office, for a short period of time to have an effect on certain policies or to make money or whatever, right? It's grasping hold of that which you are, that which God has created you to be, and living that out to the fullest. That is what Enoch did. That's why Enoch was taken up by God, and that's why representative people live beyond what they are. I'm smoking Einstein's blend, right? Einstein grabbed hold of who Einstein was. Einstein was a mathematician. He was a physicist. He was brilliant in that. Do you think Einstein could have fixed the transmission? No. Do you think Einstein could have, built a table or carved marble? Probably not. Maybe he could have. I don't know. Probably not. But certainly, we wouldn't be talking about Einstein. I wouldn't be smoking his pipe tobacco if he had decided to become a mechanic. If he decided to become, a carpenter or something else like that. He grasped hold of who he was, and as such, he lives beyond his years. So it takes a little bit of inward reflection to figure out who you are, who God created you to be, who that person really is, and what that person really should be doing. But then when you do, that's when you live beyond your years. That's when your eye never dims and you never lose strength. And though you are dead, you can be yet speaking. So, in any case, first paragraph of that sermon. We'll get further into that as we move along. And I'm going to get caught up on some YouTube videos. It seems like I keep doing that. Like in the last 2 months, I've just been gone here, hither and yon, all over the place. But I'm going to get caught back up. So I look forward to making some comments and seeing some of the stuff you all put out over the last couple of weeks. I hope you have a lovely week. As always, happy reading.